It would seem for you Dune Spice Wars players, interest will be expanding in the game, maybe sooner with some new content updates, which is pretty normal for games these days. I mean, you have the subsequent packs that always release new stuff. I mean, not always, but most of the time, studios have to get some extra money, or perhaps just have to keep interest renewed in the gaming property, which I would believe, again, based on Dune, the film. I haven't seen any figures to indicate this was Spice Wars at all, but from what I saw of the game, it looked pretty good on an initial couple rounds of trailers. At least, again, from what I could best judge, it was a fitting adaptation of the Dune world as the movie envisioned it, and as I learned from the creators behind the game and looking at some of their interview footage and featurettes, that was a mindset going in that they wanted to preserve the integrity of the story based on the book and best match that into a new version of a story through the gaming world, and specifically in the PC gaming landscape. With a very accessible game, in my opinion, at least in format. I'm much more of a console guy, but from what I saw of Dune Spice Wars, it was very easy to follow. I have played games that follow along a consistent format, and it was so well married to the Dune world and the way I experienced it in the theaters that it immediately brought me, and I've spoken before of Dune, on many occasions. It was my first film back to theaters, and I had such a great time watching the movie. I was very impressed with it. Real piece of cinema, piece of art, very engaging. Highly recommend the movie if you've not seen it yet. I mean, the score alone is just amazing, but the film really is a very respectable franchise launcher, in my opinion. It was quite stunning to watch. And now, again, like I said, as per usual of games, you have content updates to keep interest renewed. Or perhaps, for some people like me who perhaps haven't gotten to the game yet, it builds a higher magnitude of content in which to engage with when you get to play the game for yourself. It'll be all the larger than when you first considered it. In this case, we have two updates. I've compiled both because it's been a bit late in terms of me getting to the videos, so I've, in this case, just overlapped with both. And as of I'm going to look at these in order. We have both the House Corrino update and the Air and Sand update, so here we get to see the expansions of the Dune world within the presence of Dune Spice Wars. And Funcom's, speaking of expansions, they're also expanding their gaming library with Dune properties. I mean, they just recently advertised Dune Awakening, which looks pretty good, and that's, I believe, an overlap between PC and console. So you have two ways to enjoy the game if you so choose. Whatever gaming platform is to your preference, I guess. But Dune Spice Wars, again, is an exclusive PC game. It's multiplayer, and it looked like a lot of fun, I guess. From, again, when I initially saw of the game, it looked pretty well translating of the Dune universe. I was very impressed with it. But let's take a look and see what these updates have in store for the game and see how expansive the world now becomes with Dune and how much more room this game has to play with. So starting the game with House Corrino, and then I'll get to the Air and Sand update, which was revealed very recently.
When my father, the Emperor of the known universe, learned of the turmoil upon Arrakis.
That's interesting, they pronounce it Arrakis,
but to intervene.
And then the movie is pronounced Arrakis.
If his terrifying legion of Saud al-Kar, who strike fear,
I find that interesting.
The most formidable of warriors.
Especially since I did question if this was in any way linked to the movies or is more based on the book continuity. And this is his own thing.
Unrivaled power was not enough to restore peace on this most coveted of planets.
Like I said, the territory controlled, different factions fighting, different complexes across Dune landscapes. This is a very particular format to not only, I'm sure, some other PC games, but in the mobile space as well, games that I've personally played.
If anything were to threaten my father's rule over the Imperium, then he would make sure that there would be no escape. And we would all pay for the violence of our ancestors.
Beautiful graphics, good construction. It is, again, very well meshed to the Dune world. And the faction's available now, so there's no waiting period. Again, that looks pretty good. Again, a new army to play as, I guess, or a new faction to control. More range of territory to conquer. I mean, how many factions exist presently? Not exactly sure. I mean, again, like I said, I'm relatively new to the Dune world, given that Dune was my first entry and I didn't come from the books in terms of a knowledge base. That was a fresh experience. So maybe some things kind of missed my radar a bit. But again, in format, if you have not played Dune Spice Wars yet, as I've been saying the entire time, it seems to be a very accessible game. I mean, this trailer didn't show the interface. That's been highlighted before in other pieces of marketing with this game. But for the most part, again, it's pretty consistent with what you're seeing here. It's a beautiful rendition of the Dune world. And Arrakis? Or is it Arrakis? Again, like I've said, the one thing I haven't gotten a sufficient answer on is if either this game or Dune Awakening, which, if any of these stories follow the movie, right? A lot of brands are expanding in terms of developing franchise. Let's say, for example, Avatar. Avatar is right now, given the new movie, Avatar The Way of Water, but that's in theaters, Avatar is making its way into the video gaming landscape. Again, the video game territory is very popular for many burgeoning franchises or long-existent ones, and it's been that way for some time. But in the context of Avatar, they're getting 2 new entries. Frontiers of Pandora, that's a console game, very similar, again, release structure, and Reckoning, which is mobile. So neither of these options, I believe, are mobile. I might have that wrong. But I believe those are kind of tied in to the movie universe. I might have that wrong. They might be their own thing or just adaptations of what we've seen thus far in the movies told in a new realm. But with Dune, I question if Spice Wars or Awakening... Again, I know Spice Wars is trying to be translated from the books. That was the vision expressed by the creators. But Dune Awakening, I don't remember. It said it was inspired by the movie, but I don't remember if it's trying to be in any way connected. I'd be interested to again understand from those of you who have played this game or are a little more informed on Dune Awakening and maybe Funcom's vision on this, if any of these are linked to the movie. I could see that again being a great advantage to the Dune property as it expands in the cinema lens and perhaps on streaming. There is a HBO Max show in the works as well. But it looks like a pretty good update. I mean, again, very fine-tuned. The imagery of House Corrino with the different militia options, the tanks, the soldiers. It looks quite great. Very, very refined, elegant, beautiful to look at, though, and it fits very well into what's been illustrated in the past with Dune Spice Wars. That's the first update, and that's available now. And as I understand, maybe the Air and Sand update is too. Maybe it was just advertised very recently, and maybe it's coming soon. Let's take a look at it and see what else it has to boast in terms of expansions. Oh, that's interesting. Xbox. Can I play this on my Xbox? Is it available to play on consoles?
The Spacing Guild has authorized your request.
I mean, that was from the Dune movie as well.
Your vessels have been granted access to...
It's quite exquisite to look at, by the way.
It was a pleasure doing business with you.
That was definitely a tease. Yeah, new content available. Why did it start? Yeah, Xbox. You know, I'm an Xbox player. Can you play this game on Xbox? On PC Game Pass. Okay, so technically it's still on PC, but I guess it's kind of worked into the Xbox format. Like I said, I'm much more of a Xbox console guy, so forgive me if I have a bit of an ineptitude when it comes to what exactly the functionality is for someone like me who's more typically a console player and then seeing the Xbox attribution, trying to figure out how that works in the PC realm or in terms of being an accessible game that I get to play, which I've had every intention of doing that at some point. I definitely do want to try it out. Like I said, the format to this game is very engaging. From what I've played in the past, it's easy to get into. And if you're not familiar with faction control type games, there are plenty in the mobile space, some of which have been kind of fun, that this is very similar to and might be a good introduction. This seems a bit simpler in part. Some of those other games have had a lot of... maybe it's equal. There's usually a lot to do in those games in terms of resource collection, territory control, battling it out, crafting buildings, upgrading. There's so many different options you have that perhaps this game is playing with too. And now we're expanding to, the air and sand landscape, which may get maybe another trailer eventually. Maybe this is the only piece of marketing you'll get for it. But either way, there is an expansion. It's a short clip. But I mean, the machinery, again, like I said, as it was presented in the Dune movie, it was quite exquisite, and here it's kind of the same feeling. It really does evoke the movie quite well. Looks like a fun game, and again, as I said, this is typical for many different types of games to get expansions post-release, but maybe this will renew interest or draw new eyes, especially among Dune fans like myself. Again, I just haven't had the opportunity to try it out yet, but I've had every intention to. And I would love to hear from those of you who are watching this, what standpoint you're coming from with this game. Maybe this is a first impression for you. You haven't looked at anything with Spice Wars yet, or perhaps you're a proficient player. Maybe you just tried it out a couple of times. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are down below, and if you're somebody who has played the game, would you recommend it, right? Or, if you're coming at this again from a first perspective, are you inclined to try it out for yourself and expand your interest in the Dune world in the video gaming realm? Or perhaps which release is a little more appealing to you, this or Awakening? Again, Awakening was also really good, and both are done by Funcom, which seems to be, again, really cornering the Dune market, at least in my impression. I'm quite impressed from what I'm seeing from them, though, in terms of games. And while, again, my preference and my first inclination would be to jump to consoles, I'll definitely have to try out my PC hand at some point and give this a go. I mean, again, like I said, the format is so easy to engage with that perhaps my experience in the mobile realm will translate very well in the PC journey with this game. I'll definitely keep you apprised as to my thoughts should I ever get the opportunity to play as more stuff comes out and there's ever any future content updates I get to look at. But and maybe I'll feature some gameplay, eventually in my gameplay channel if there's any time frame that's available to me. Shameless plug, link down below if you're interested. Keep your eyes peeled, I guess, for maybe Dune gameplay content there. But for now, again, like I've said in the past, Dune Spice Wars is, I think, a good expansion on the Dune world and the gaming landscape. And I do think it will definitely draw a lot of PC players, in my opinion, if it hasn't already. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.